Welcome to the CT Educator Podcast. I am your host, Karina Hogan. I am a registered CT technologist with 20 years of experience and knowledge. I help new CT technologists level up their CT training so that you can become a successful technologist. I'm also a mom and committed to sharing my knowledge and expertise to help you build your confidence, know the CT basics so that you can deliver quality patient care. So let's get into it. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. Hope you guys are having a freaking awesome week. It's getting warmer. Trauma season is here. So, you techs out there that work in trauma hospitals, you know exactly what the deal is. From April to October, trauma season is in full effect, okay? Especially out here in the Midwest. So, little housekeeping for you guys. Now, make sure you guys subscribe to the podcast, give a review, let us know how the podcast is, helping you out. I always love and encourage feedback to make this podcast even better. So, make sure you subscribe to the podcast, send it to somebody who needs to listen to it too, because I give a lot of wealth of information. I do not gatekeep my knowledge here. So I go ahead and give you the real stuff when it comes to CT because, hey, that's what we need to know, right? So, a little housekeeping. If you are not familiar with a couple of the coaching programs that I do offer a couple of coaching programs, one for brand new technologists. So, this is like technologists transitioning from x ray to CT. Or, even if you're in a CT program and you need to just up level and level up your CT skills and your training, come join my coaching program. It's 6 months of training in my container with me personally. I'm only taking 10 students. So you have to sign up like now because once those 10 spots are filled up, I will not reopen the program for another 6 months. So make sure you guys get in on that. The link is in the show notes, okay? Also, if you are a CT technologist with 2 years of experience and have interest in traveling, I have a 90-day boot camp that I go ahead and give you all the details and the 411 on how to make sure you are ready to go for those traveling contracts and how to secure them. So I give you some great tips and great things to know and things that, skills and crucial information that you need, especially when, most of these facilities expect you to scan on day one. So make sure you check out the show notes for that. I will be taking 10 spots for that one too. So once those fill up, that's it, guys. You won't get in until the next round. So make sure you sign up, okay? Because I will give you probably a week to go ahead and sign up. And then once those spots are filled, that is it, okay? So both of the programs have founding members pricing. So you can get a special 40% discount if you join in the next 48 hours. So make sure you guys check that out, okay? Also, if you are just needing some self-paced courses, I do teach some courses, and offer courses. If that's all you need, you don't need the coaching piece. So make sure you check out the show notes. I have a basics course. I have a cardiac 101. And I'm also introducing a couple of new courses. It is a patient centering course. And also there's one more course that I'm also going to do. I can't remember the name of it right now. I'm old and I forget stuff. Okay. But I am going to introduce a couple of new courses. So one is going to be about patient centering and how to make sure that you perfect it. Okay. And I'm also going to introduce a brand new course as well. So make sure you guys check out the show notes for that. Okay. Also, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe because every other Friday I will be doing a live YouTube segment where it's Tech Tip Fridays. So as I do that, so I will be live on YouTube giving you some of the best tech tips so that you can stay on top of your training. Okay, so you can be the best tech possible. So make sure you check that out as well. Okay, so I'm kind of revamping some stuff on YouTube so it's easier to find, playlists of certain things like how-tos, tutorials, things like that. You even get the video portions of this podcast on YouTube. So great stuff. Make sure you follow there, follow on TikTok, and follow on Instagram. Okay. So also, if you're looking for some personal training as far as fitness, online coaching, my boyfriend is an awesome trainer. He does online coaching where he is taking 10 clients right now for online coaching. I am a prime example because I work out with him every single day and I have been in the best physical shape I have been in my life better than in my 20s, and I am in my 40s. So if you would like to work with him, there is a form in the show notes that you can go ahead and fill out. He will contact you and you can sit on a consult call with him, and he will get you up to speed as far as getting your workouts modified to you and get you on the right path. So if you're interested in that, make sure you check out the show notes, sign up. All right, let's get into today's episode. So, in today's episode, we are going to be talking about the critical skills you need when securing your first traveling contract. So, I know in the prior episode, I was talking about, is traveling, right for you as a CT technologist, okay? So, when you are thinking about being a traveler tech and you want to explore that path in your career, there are going to be some skills that you need to know and that are critical so you can get that increase in pay and get more opportunities. Okay. So, I'm going to kind of break down on some of the things that you should know because most of these facilities are expecting you to know how to scan from day one. They will give you 2 weeks of training. It's because you need to know policy and procedures, protocols, where to find things, accessing systems, things like that, and just making sure that you are familiar with the scanner so you can operate on your own. So a lot of these places are not going to give you 8 weeks of training as a traveler. You're probably going to get a week or two and then you're on your own. Okay. So let me give you a couple of things that I feel you need as far as critical skills so that you can be successful when you secure these contracts. Okay. So knowledge of CT scanners. So depending on what type of contract and where you take it, okay, because usually the recruiters will let you know. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, but you can always ask as far as what type of CT system they use at whatever facility you are planning on securing that contract with, okay? So you need to be knowledgeable and familiar with whatever scanner that they have, okay? So what I think is a good rule of thumb, and I always tell my technologists it is don't always stick to one platform. Don't stick to one scanner. Like there have been techs I've worked with over the years that only know GE. Then all of a sudden they want to become travelers and the facility they go to is a Siemens and then they don't know. Okay. So I always tell people make sure you get experience on other CT systems. Okay. Because that's really important and it makes you more of a marketable tech. I'm going to give you a prime example. I have recruiters, even right now as I'm recording this podcast episodes, that are blowing up my text messages, emails, and LinkedIn messages. Why? Because I have experience on all the CT systems out there. I know GE, I know Philips, I know Siemens, and I know Toshiba. So I can basically sit down anywhere. And perfect example, the hospital I currently work at is a level 1 trauma hospital. I hadn't done trauma probably in about 10 years, but it was like riding a bike. You pick up and you relearn how to do things. But you know what was perfect about that job is that on day one, I sat down and I could scan any patient that they threw at me. It didn't matter because I have the experience, I have the knowledge, and I knew exactly what I was doing. And that is what most of these facilities, when they hire a contractor, that's what they're looking for. Okay. So make sure you gain experience and familiarize yourself with at least two systems. Okay. If it's all of them, that's great. If it's at least one or two, that works. It is helpful to do that instead of sticking with the same machine. Now, I know some of you are going to come out and say, well, I only know learn one machine. I only want to know one. That's fine. But you can market yourself more and get more recruiters probably freaking blowing up your phone if you know more systems out there. Okay. Now, the second thing that I think is very important is, advanced protocols. So your knowledge on CTAs, your 3D post processing, if you have cardiac experience, if you know biopsies and different procedures, because there's a lot of specialties that we do, in CT, when it comes to colonographies, the CT bronchoscopies, where we're doing the ion protocols, and things like that. So being knowledgeable in some of those extra specialties really gets you a long way because it makes you more marketable. And also having awesome IV skills, because if you take like a contracting assignment, let's say at an imaging center, if you have those IV skills, it's good. So knowing how to specialize in certain areas where, CT fluoro, with the biopsies and things like that. And, the different types of exams that we do the interrographies, we do the baby hearts, the congenitals. So if you know how to perform those correctly, you're going to be more of a marketable tech. And that is what they really look for, is for that marketable tech that they can go ahead and flex their experience. And, it's a good placement for you. Okay. So knowing two or more systems, making sure you have knowledge, especially heavily on like CTAs and 3D post processing work and IV skills. I mean, those things are huge. Now, depending on where you're at, if you're going to do cardiac, you're not, if you're going to do biopsies or not. But most of the time, I know when it comes to travelers, the ones we had didn't have to do any of those. So it just depends on where you're at in the facility you're at. So it's always good to have that knowledge on all those things and all those critical skills, because it makes you super marketable and you can have more than one recruiter coming to look for you for a job. And then negotiating those contracts, make sure you get paid what you're worth. Okay. I have 22 years of experience and I know what I'm worth. Okay. So make sure you don't get lowballed and don't get underpaid. You are marketable. Do your research. Make sure you get that market analysis wherever it is that you are taking those contracts, and make sure you get paid what you're worth. Okay. So that is it for this episode. I love to make my episodes very short and bite sized so you can get all the information and we don't drag anything out. Okay. So you can get to work. Okay. So make sure you check out the show notes for both of my coaching programs. If you need any personal online fitness coaching, make sure you check that out. Also, make sure you subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow me on socials on TikTok and Instagram. If you have any questions, you can send me a email or a DM on any one of those platforms. Just make sure you go check all that out, okay? So hopefully you guys have an amazing week. Thank you so much for listening on this episode, and I will chat with you guys in the next episode. Thank you for listening to this episode. If you would like to share your CT experience, have an interesting story to share, or need help in your CT training, please email me your questions at contact@thecteducator.com. Follow along on Instagram at the CT Educator, also on Facebook at the CT Educator. Don't forget to like, share, leave a 5-star review, as this will help support the show and it'll reach all of you that need guidance. Thank you for listening and happy scanning.